Hi. I'm still me, Miko. Um, so, have you ever had that conversation with a friend where you know something's up and you want to help them with whatever it is and you don't know what it is and it's bugging you because you really want to help them out? And so you stay there and you talk to them and you're as understanding and open to listening to whatever it is that they have to say. Now, here's the really important question. Have you ever been that friend to yourself? Today, I found myself in that situation where there was a really shitty situation and I got myself stuck thinking of who I would turn to. And that's something I really need to stop doing, because right now, every time I start thinking that, it's like, who would I turn to? My dad, he's dead. What? Who would I turn to? My sister, well, she's dead. Who would I turn to? Well, my other sister, well, she's also dead. Who would I turn to? My brother, well, he's also dead. And so I realized that I have to start looking into myself more and relying on myself more. And I know that I do that already in real life. Like when something happens, I jump to it and I do what it is that needs to be done because it needs to be done. But I don't think I've ever really done it on an emotional level before, because that I always had my family to turn to. And since all of them are dropping dead around me, I don't really have that right now. And when I worked out the situation that was going on with me, I realized I've been a really good friend to a lot of people. And I have some really good friends. And in my fear of becoming a burden to any of them, I have avoided leaning on them. Not that I think that anyone has leaned on me as a burden. Well, a couple people. But for the most part, I don't mind being there because I don't think it's a burden. I think that if you need the help and I'm able to give, why shouldn't I? You know what I mean? And if you have it within yourself to give, why not? I've just never been a take kind of person. I can give the help, but if I'm taking, I start looking at myself like, well, what's wrong with you that you now have to take? What are you lacking? And I judge myself. I judge myself really. I'm my harshest critic. I really am. And I understand that that is part of my personality and I can't help that. I do have to try to work on it. And I think over the last 5 years I've been trying to work on that a lot more, because I didn't really realize that it was that much of a problem. And now that I see it for what it is, I'm actually shocked I let it get this bad, because had I been on top of it, had I known that it was a thing and had I been on top of it, I would have nipped this thing in the bud and been like, no, because I'm that much of a control freak when it comes to my own life. But because I didn't realize that my isolating myself, my closing off to everyone else, I didn't think that that was a problem. I thought that that was a way to save my relationships with people, because then I'm not unloading on them. I'm not lashing out. I'm not letting them see my weaker side or my darker side, because I have it in control by the time I'm around people. And that's normally the thing. I almost always try to get myself in check before I even set foot out of my door. And if I have an engagement to go to, I don't care if I paid for tickets or not. If I cannot get myself in check before I walk out of that door, I do not leave. I do not go. I have spent $200 on tickets and not left my fucking house because I couldn't keep myself in check. And I knew that if I had to deal with people I don't know, I would have gone off, probably got myself arrested that night. I know me. And so I try to work around my issues. And I've always worked around my issues and my temper and my rigid perfectionism. Instead of working around them, what I should really have been doing all these years is working through them, and that's a hard one to acknowledge, because perfectionist. But also it's hard because it's hard to work on, and it's just I've never had to before, and I don't have the help to do it. And I guess I could call someone, but I never let anyone close enough to know any of these things. And when I was sick, it took me, I was really bad for 9 years. And for years 1 through 7, I told no one at all. I didn't say a word to anybody. And then these two dear sweet souls, assholes though they are some of the most perceptive friends I've ever had. They knew something was up. And not that I don't remember which order it happened in, but the both of them kind of cornered me within a week of each other, and kind of outed me about the problem. They called me out. And they told me, and I should have listened, that I'm hard-headed, that they told me that anytime I ever needed to talk or vent, just to call them because they would be there. And I knew that. And I knew that it was a resource that I had. I'm not accustomed to leaning on anyone. I'm accustomed to getting whatever it is I need, doing whatever it is I need to do, having for me. If I can't provide for me, then it's something that I assume doesn't need to be mine. And I kind of just move on from that. It shouldn't be that way, and yet it is. And I'm trying to work on that. I'm nowhere near ready to, move on from there. I've only just come to the point of acknowledgement. So I'm going to need you guys to bear with me for a while, because it's going to be a bumpy ride.